Greetings and welcome to the energy of Sagittarius. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. Tarot of the Twin Sun is a functional division within the Order of the Twin Sun. Please take only what you will. This shall not resonate for everyone. Please do not force any narratives into your style or your path. What is done within the Order of the Twin Sun is essentially arranging certain formulas to track patterns, especially karmic patterns that exist between a particular Rasi or a particular sun placement or planetary placement. And now we are dealing with Sagittarius, okay? So with Sagittarius, the ninth house is open. The ninth house is about devotion, bhakti. It has to do with religious texts, sacred texts, the ability to expand with Jupiter's energy beyond the terrestrial plane, okay, and to go beyond that in terms of the quest for dharma, for the path, okay. So much like Leo, Sagittarius is very much a forerunner, but they are extremely independent, mutable, to the point of detached forms of liberation, okay. Perhaps there's something through the ninth house that we can see through this, so-called detachment that is actually trying to unify with a higher source type of energy. Okay, we'll go ahead and begin now. Please take only what you will. Do not force anything. There is something that needs to be said that is constantly on the mind. Okay, it is not being shown. Um, This has to do with a very detached way of seeing things that is now becoming more attached. In some respect, this has to do with something that you've left behind, especially when it comes to ways of operating, ways of sustaining something in terms of a conservative way of doing things, sustaining something. So sustainability or sustenance is very much a requisite here for the current energy of Sagittarius. There's something starving when it comes to the quest for truth or the quest for something to say. And this is very strongly indicated in the King of Cups energy. The king looks to the royal court, mostly. A way to a way to do the right thing when it comes to many different characters in your life, different agents of condition, of also of power, without coming across like you are looking like a patriarchal fool. There's something about what you say that is hidden, okay, or at least dualistic in nature, and perhaps you are now learning how to move from one way of doing things that is very conservative, that was once very conservative in nature, a way of sustaining or pervading a sense of reality, okay, in the past. The 10th house is very much indicated here also. Um, Essentially the 11th house, so the 10th to the 11th, okay? The beauty of this is that there will be a sense of truth, but it requires a great deal of going back in time to see what was left, okay? So I think you should be aware of something like that. Wow, there's a military helicopter flying over. How ominous. It's big. So, let's go on ahead. So the Great Mirror is a tool used to seek out the querence energy, that is, yours, Sagittarius energy, and to look at planetary placements within that energy, okay, Sagittarius, and essentially to deal with the other, which is the seventh house from it. Okay. So, um, there's a realism about this reading that has to do with the Hanged Man, Saturn's energy becoming perfected through disorder, through the disorder that comes from the outer world. Okay. And embracing a type of realism as opposed to idealism could be, that's the person's energy that you're dealing with, could be yours. The approach to realism. Right. So already I'm seeing here there is a very strong connection that kind of binds the energy of Sagittarius. There's something that becomes that you outgrow, okay? But they also mirror with the Six of Swords in reverse something that was trying to be said earlier. Um, this this is like a rubber band. The karma here is like a rubber band, something that you stretch and then it snaps back into existence, modes of existence, timelines. And this kind of person is kind of a draw from you. They take from you, leaving you with the Nine of Cups in reverse. Something antiquated, something old school, um, unsatisfactory. Yet it is something that you feel nostalgic about. There is a corrosive quality to this connection. Um, at the same time, the spellbinding aspect of it is very strong. The mind is very active when it comes to this, and anything that is said into words actually affects the situation. It creates a binding agent. Okay, so you have to be careful what you say, because this type of connection is is found through Saturn's energy. It is it's very limiting. At the same time, it gives rewards over lifetimes. This type of connection. Um, so perhaps this is something that you've come across before. Something that the type you attract, someone who is unavailable, or perhaps takes from you, um, consciously, at least for the moment. It feels like there's been a type of end or fallout within this type of connection. Um, the irony is that even with the fallout, there still is a structural or etheric sort of cord that ties together with force majeure. Um, Fairly interesting reading. There's a way to improve a connection that is like this. It has to do with surrendering thoughts, surrendering the mind, something that this person is good at doing, but they also return. They return. There's something about them that avoids emotional content, but then they return because they become thirsty, or they seek out water. They seek out emotional context, something that you have, but then you're currently surrendering it. There also is uh, um, the Hierophant in reverse, Malady. Hierophant in reverse. Also could be the Magician in reverse, but I read it more as the Hierophant in reverse. This is a strange Hierophant card, considering he does have a rod in his hand, and he's conducting over an altar, okay? With an urn, there's an urn in there, it's like an altar of the Fool, or altar of Aries energy, combined with Capricorn. Very, very dark card. And with this, the Hierophant loses his credibility. Okay, meaning that the Hierophant can be naked, meaning that his worth, what is invested in the Hierophant's powers, is the robes of the priest. Okay, and the high priest loses his energy here. This is something that perhaps you are gearing towards. Okay, no longer having illusions about being able to be a wealthy reservoir of energy for this person. Okay, they take. Um, they take, and that's what they think they can keep doing. um, Bummer. Uh, what are they? What are they getting to? I think there's a way of release, a way of releasing tension through indecision. The Seven of Rods in the reverse, and what emerges out of this is, unfortunately, a feeling of numbness between both parties. There is an isolation, and there is also the path of ambition, trying to get away from it all in order to find a sense of rest and a sense of the bodhisattva within your domain, to become completely naked and to not also to not have the pretension of being labeled as spiritual or anything like that. I think it's you're above that, or you think you're above that. And I don't mean to cast any judgment. I'm just reading what the cards are saying. Um, so yes, not the easiest of situations, but there is a type of ending that I think you are executing, and this is causing the feeling of avantage, okay, which is the forerunner of truth, very close to a type of realization here, especially for them, about their own actions, what they've done, and what they've failed to do. Okay, the advice is to find clarity. How? Okay, this came up twice. La Prudence, the Hanged Man. So there is a way to find the sun's energy, to find clarity and a way of doing and seeing things, of coming into realization by embracing the objectified and non-subjective views of watching the disorder and the chaos of the human condition outside of the hanged man. Okay, and this has to do with sapience. It has to do with knowing, knowledge, systems of knowledge that come through serpentine energy, the reptilian brain, as well. There could be a type of awakening that is happening for you, okay, and for them. But what you have to be conscious of mostly are anything that is written or said or thought about, because they immediately become the binding agents for potentially a very dark magic. um, yeah, that is or was your reading. Very dark undertones in that one. I do apologize, but hopefully that has been helpful. At the very least, I do wish you well. Thank you. Bye bye.